While Donald Trump's win Tuesday night may have come as a surprise to the Clinton campaign, it was also a surprise to some news organizations. Managing Director for Politics at CBS News Digital, Rahn, has written an article containing his commentary on what he believes the media got wrong about the 2016 campaign, titled "The Unbearable Smugness of the Press." Will joins us from Washington. All right, so Will, you used the phrase unbearable smugness. What does that mean exactly?
I think what we're talking about when we talk about smugness in the media, it's something you would observe perhaps best through social media, things like Twitter, the way that reporters talk to each other in those venues. And there you see a certain groupthink setting in that, in terms of calling this election, proved to be rather disastrous. Everybody thought that Hillary Clinton essentially had this in the bag. Everybody believed that states like Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania were going to be Clinton's. This time you saw the opposite result of that, and so I think we need to have a little bit of soul searching and a little bit of humility when it comes to understanding why.
A point you made in the article is you say, quote, "We don't make much of an effort to really understand and with too few exceptions treat the economic grievances of middle America like they're some sort of punchline." What specifically are you referring to there?
Specifically, when I wrote that, I was thinking about sort of a Twitter in-joke among reporters where a picture will be put up of a Trump fan, maybe, with an offensive sign, Confederate flag perhaps, and someone will joke, "Look, a lot of economic anxiety here." What we're seeing this, and what that is indicative of, is this assumption among journalists that Trump supporters really were a basket of deplorables in some large sense, that these people were to some degree, or at least a great majority of them, or a great number of them, were somewhat irredeemable, somewhat uncouth, you could say, and these were not people who we thought were going to perhaps turn out in big numbers, who would turn off other voters. And what that helped facilitate was the missing of the larger story. We're seeing today, there's a lot of talk today about the economic recovery and how that largely left out people without a high school degree, people in these places in Ohio and Pennsylvania that in some cases voted for Obama last time, and this time pulled the lever for Donald Trump. That's something that we missed in a major way. None of us thought that places like Erie County, Pennsylvania, this was Republican no-go territory. Suddenly Donald Trump wins. We've missed a story there in terms of what was driving the voters there. I remember just last week we're all wondering, why is Donald Trump going to Wisconsin? Why is he going to Michigan? Why is he going to these states where he doesn't have a chance? It turns out he had a big chance in both places. He won Wisconsin. He might still win Michigan. And what we're seeing there, the big story there, is that these voters who we didn't fully understand turned out in big numbers.
I wonder, Will, when you talk about this issue of missing the larger story, do you think that Donald Trump's controversial comments led to more of a focus on what it was he said literally, instead of that economic suffering that his supporters were really feeling, and that the anger that resulted because of that?
I heard a great observation from a reporter today who said that Trump supporters tend to take him seriously but not literally. Reporters tended to take him literally but not seriously. We sort of assumed that voters in these places would have the same revulsion to Trump's comments that we saw on a lot of the coasts in elite professions, and elite professions such as the media. I think that colored our thinking and led us to understate his support in some areas.
What do you think, Will, given all of this, what do you think the lessons are for next time?
I think the first thing that we have to just embrace is a certain amount of humility. We can't do the smug Twitter act anymore like we know all of the answers. Your average political reporter, not that far out of college. And we just need to understand that there are people out there who are not quite like us, who we may not have experienced in full and in depth, people from areas of the country where we don't often visit. And when we do, and when we're talking to them, we can still miss the story. I was hearing from a lot of reporters today, and they were making the point to me that everywhere they went, in places like Ohio and Pennsylvania again, they couldn't find many people with a nice word to say about Hillary Clinton. Their instincts said something's going on here, but we let polling and data tell us otherwise. We sort of ignored our instincts when it came to that, and we did so at our peril. There was a story that we missed because we didn't know how to ask the right questions, and because we got confused about the answers.
Yeah, well, after having traveled down to the border and meeting with some Latinos for Trump for CBSN and our CBSN original, there certainly was a deep and abiding loyalty to Donald Trump among some groups since the very beginning, despite all of the controversial comments. Rahn, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Elaine.